ordinary here. Maybe it's time for a proxy Rax, maybe a 9-10 proxy or a 10-10 proxy in the middle of the map. You never know, but take it away with the intros, HD.
All right, man. Well, the players have loaded up, ladies and gentlemen. So at the 12 o'clock position on Antigua Shipyard, we have Old Generations, the STC.
Show him some more love than that. He is a phenomenal, phenomenal Terran player.
We should do it again.
No, but we clearly have a fan favorite in the house tonight, the Phenom Zerg. Everybody loves this guy. He's making a name for himself. So give it up if you want to see Stephano win this. Make some noise.
I'll make sure to build up a little bit more hype for the STC in the next one. If he is indeed. The next one.
Well, it seems like Stephano is the new White Raw of the house. You know, everybody. Yes, White Raw is the man.
Is White Raw in the crowd?
I don't know. No way. He did not go home. He already went home.
It's like no Protoss. Screw it.
No Protoss finals. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Anyways, now we were talking about what can the SEC change up here. Yeah, he could try to cheese Stephano.
He's not going to.
I don't think he's going to. Now, when it comes to just thinking about the game, what can deal with those early lings in the most efficient way? And a couple of things come to my head. Early, quick Marines out a power reactor build with a bunch of Marines. We saw how that destroyed Zerg players who were trying the Stephano build yesterday when we cast it, just pumping out a bunch of Marines early game and then making that transition into the late mech.
Also,
or you could go into
Blue Flame Hellions.
Exactly.
I think Blue Flame Hellions, getting a pack of Blue Flame Hellions out, maybe 8 to 10.
Yeah.
You know how a lot of times, we used to see this all the time. Players would use the reactored factory. They would build 8 to 10 Hellions. Then they would swap that, get Blue Flame on a tech lab. If he kind of fell back to one of those older builds with Blue Flame Hellions, he could establish map control. He could use the Hellions to control the mass ling style.
I was just going to say exactly that, man. I think we're on the same page here. It's going to have to be either Blue Flame Hellions or a power reactor build with a bunch of Marines coming out. And I'm sure the SEC has kind of thought about this now. He's lost to this build 2 times in a row. He's going to have to make something happen to deal with Stephano. Now, it's cross-spawn on Antigua Shipyard. And if anything, this has got to favor Stephano in a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just the distances here on this map, and especially diagonal cross-spawn, is really going to give Stephano a lot of breathing room, a lot of working space. It'll give him ample opportunity to spread that creep like he likes to all over the map. And the STC, it seems like, has really been trying to rely on his drop play. He's been dropping all over the place, but this is clearly something that Stephano is very, very, very capable of dealing with. I don't think one of the STC's drops has done significant enough damage to warrant losing a full medevac worth of Marines and a medevac as well.
Yeah, and the STC, despite his drops not working out too well, we saw in the last game, he still held down a very close game with Stephano until the very end, and that goes back to his macro. I really feel like he had at least an even number of command centers to the hatcheries that Stephano had, and that's one thing that Stephano, I've noticed about him before. He has great execution, he has great strategy, great builds, but when it comes down to hatcheries, he's never really ahead by 1 or 2 over the Terran or Protoss, but he still makes it work.
Yeah, see, and that's a really good point you make there, HD. Stephano, one of those players, it seems like to me, not necessarily the craziest macro Zerg, but his decision-making in battles is brilliant. We see throughout this series, every engagement, it seems like Stephano is catching the STC off guard. He's catching him while he's trying to move through mid. He's trapping Marines out in mid like on Shattered Temple. He's just taking these small victories, and it just kind of snowballs. And then, by the mid game and the late game, the STC he doesn't have enough to hold off the eventual late game ultra or mass ling push.
2 Hellions now making their way over to the natural. They did get the, no, they did not. The creep tumor was canceled, so that branch of creep will be able to continue onwards once the Hellions are dealt with. Stephano right now, his drone count at 30 over 23. It looks like we have a quick third here from the STC, and this is what he did in a prior game.
Stephano is abusing the Automaton 2000 right now. Sorry we missed that, guys. He was surrounding it with all of his lings and pushing it around. Maybe he'll do it again. That That was quite cute. Maybe an ode to Tasteless right there. Just messing around with the automaton. Sorry there's no Panda Bear guy here for us to point out or play with.
Can't kill the Panda Bear. That's bad luck.
Stephano, interestingly enough, actually didn't kill the automaton. He was just petting it, it seemed like.
That's his little good luck charm, man.
You can't abuse the automatons. They're so cute and mechanical.
Yeah, well, here are 4 Hellions in the front of his natural. Now, no Blue Flame upgrade on the way for the SEC. In fact, he did open up with a quick 3rd command center, so his building production is going to be a little bit more limited. And
how bold, actually, dropping the command center at the 3rd on the low ground. And this is immediately after him just taking a fresh natural here. Now, not going to get Blue Flame this game, but he did kind of take a page out of our thought book, if you will, and he's actually, well, we're not making any plays, but and he's actually got a pretty sizable pack of Hellions here. This will help him retain map control. It's not going to allow Stephano to get that presence out on the map, and most importantly, he can use these Hellions to continually deny the creep tumors that Stephano's going to be trying to spread out into the mid here. And I like this adaptation from the STC. It shows that he's thinking on his feet. It shows that he is capable of adapting to Stephano's style.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and not only that, these Hellions will allow him to grab that 3rd safely. In fact, it's now an orbital. He'll be able to mine from it safely for quite some time now. It looks like Stephano's had enough of this. He's pushing out with some of his speed links, but they don't have the +1/+1 upgrade quite yet. In fact, this time around, he's getting armor first before the melee upgrade. Usually he'll get that melee upgrade first. Well, that's just his way of going about things in this game, and we'll have to see how it rolls out. But at this point in the game, we actually see the SEC really starting to power ahead. He's got 3 orbitals. He's starting to get his production going. He's containing Stephano, so this is actually a reverse of the previous games that we've seen. And now, with that said, though, Stephano, once he gets those Zerglings with 1/1, he just goes into beast mode.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are seeing the STC using that reactor powering style that I've been talking about throughout the tournament. Using the factory to continually build extra reactors so that once all of your barracks are up, you can just land them on reactors immediately and start producing tons of Marines. He's adding 2 additional Raxes right now at the front. His 3rd is just about to start kicking in, and you know, the longer Stephano takes to push out and deal with this and get some presence on the map, the further and further behind he gets. He's gonna have to make something happen, but he's investing so heavily in all of these Lings. He's got Infestors on the way now. I think once he gets those out on the field, he will have the potential for a timing window to do some serious damage.
And I think he's gearing up to do that. The +1/+1 upgrade has completed, actually just the armor upgrade, not quite the melee yet, but he is starting to spread the creep tumor down. I really like how he uprooted one of his spine crawlers, placed it down on the ground, so now he'll be able to start spreading creep without having to worry about those Hellions.
Yeah, it's so intelligent, and look how methodical Stephano is being about his creep spread right now. He knows those Hellions are there, and he only drops 1 creep tumor to the top right. If he can sneak that up, he didn't actually use all of them there, which was so smart. He's just testing the waters, trying to get his creep spread going, seeing if the STC is paying attention or not. But back at the STC's base, we are seeing some serious powering here. He is producing tons of Marines and tanks right now.
Yeah, the STC is looking much better in this game than any other game I've seen him play in. He's not going with that medevac style. He just forced those creep tumors to cancel once again. They're rebuilding again. But he's not going with that medevac style after 2 games of it not working at all. He's just going with that Marine power style on 3 bases, and I can't help but feel that this is what he needs to deal with the Ling Infestor style of Stephano. Now, Stephano has broken out. His Lings are out across the map, and we'll have to see what he does.
Yeah, he's actually going to try and chase these Hellions all the way down. He is committing to this. They're certainly going to get a few Ling kills here, but I think that the Lings are going to be able to clean them up without taking too many losses. Now, he's out on the field with his Infestors. They are pooping a trail of creep all the way over to the STC's side of the map. But he's not making a move on that 3rd. He's more concerned about these Hellions that are still on the map, which, oddly enough, is not a good decision for him right now. I'm not sure where he's sending these Infestors. He's taking so much time to try and deal with 3 Hellions that, you know, he's not going to hit that window of timing that we were talking about where he has an opportunity at the 3rd. He has enough units to do some serious damage here.
Well, it looks like his hunt is going to go down here as he's found those Hellions, and he's going to pick all 3 of them off. You know, picking off those Hellions, I can kind of see where he was going. He was worried about Hellions because that's the one unit that can really deal with his Ling style very easily. But now he's going to find some Marines in the middle of the map. The Marines are forced to stim. Aren't they going to get wrapped around? It looks like the Marines are just barely going to be able to eke out of there. there, and the tanks did go down, but the nice thing here for Stephano is he forced the gold command center to go away.
Yeah, he might actually even be able to kill it. I don't know, that command center moving faster than the infested Terrans. God, they're slow.
That's not saying much.
And these Marines, no medevacs, so a few fungals here. Few clutch fungals could take out all these Marines. Oh, and he misses.
Micro.
That was actually a very good split right there by the STC.
Absolutely.
These infested Terrans, though, having a field day, killing their former Terran brethren.
I'm trying to convince them.
That's never a pretty sight, seeing Marine on Marine aggression.
Well, the STC, I think, did a pretty good job there of keeping his command center alive. He didn't lose it. He did kill off several units in the middle of the field as well. In that attack, both armies did trade. But the important thing here is with the gold, it's very easy, as you guys can see here, for infested Terrans to camp the top and start spitting out infested Terrans. Now, what we need are some tanks to deal with this. Great fungal growth. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost killed off about 5 or 6 SCVs.
Yeah, and those infested Terrans going to pick off a few more. So very well done from Stephano, and you know, that's just so smart to sit up there ready and waiting for, you know, the SCVs to eventually come. And it looks like he wants to take this Zelnaga tower back with a vengeance. There's only 2 tanks right now. The PF is actually about to finish though, so if he wanted to make his move, that would have been the time. But let me go back to the point we were making earlier. The powering from the STC. This is just pure macro dominance here. I don't think that Stephano has enough to take this position at the gold, and he continually is sacrificing wave after wave of units, and that's not what he wants to be doing right now. He needs to take a 4th, he needs to take a 5th. We see him, he's actually taking 3 bases right now. He's taking his 4th, 5th, and 6th bases, because I think he realizes this. You know, he's considerably far behind in this game right now. Supplies 154 to 119.
Yeah.
If you take a look at the income, the STC just doing an amazing job, muling all over the place. Just got that gold up and running and really starting to power through even more, and I think he's going to hit his timing window pretty soon here.
How about that for the SEC, man? Adapting his playstyle, adapting his build after going 0-2 and out against Stephano, now coming back and really using a style that we were talking about during the game as it was loading, and it actually seems to be working out really well. Power Marines out, and without Baneling support, Stephano doesn't like his Banelings. Without Banelings, mass Marines with tanks can deal with that pretty easily. Now, having said that, Stephano does have some Ultralisks on the way. Good fungal growth in the middle there. They won't kill those M&M, but there are Ultras, ladies and gentlemen, on the way, but no chitinous plating. There it is, a chitinous plating upgrade. So Stephano's about to get his ultimate weapon of war.
Also, well, yeah, that's very true, but the STC already starting to mix Marauders into his unit composition.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Just one step ahead of the game, and these Marauders are going to help out tremendously against the Ultras. Still only +1 upgrades on his vehicles, 2-1 on the Marines right now. It looks like Stephano is actually at 2-2 right now with 3-3 and chitinous plating on the way. So once he finishes all that, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. But the STC pushing towards the natural right now, just constricting Stephano. He's also sent additional units over to that hatchery to try and take out the base. Here we go. Big engagement going down in the midfield right now.
Looks like those Lings are pushing the Marines away, but it looks like, you know, the SEC's position in the middle. I really like his tank setup, his bunker setup. Look at the depth he has on his tanks. He's going to be so protected against Stephano when he attacks, and Stephano will not be able to get any creep spread up there. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, the SEC also attacking this hatchery, and in the middle of the field, it looks like Stephano choosing to engage, but this is such a bad engagement for the Zerg player. He really doesn't have a choice. I don't know if he's going to have enough to bust through this.
I don't think he does, and all the meanwhile, the STC dropping 2 locations at once.
Yeah.
He's going to clean up the 4th, he's going to clean up the 5th, and he could even head right over and clean up the 6th now, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. So Stephano just getting picked apart here a little bit. Going to drop the 3rd too. I mean, STC's just all over the place right now. He's really found a way to make everything click, and Stephano, you know, unable to mitigate all the drop damage like we saw in previous games. The drops are actually getting quite effective this time around. I'm not sure where the hiccup is. I'm not sure why that is, but the STC is certainly doing a good job of getting inside Stephano's head in this game.
Yeah, I think a lot of it goes back to the SEC going into that power mode, containing the Zerg on 2 base for so long, as the SEC was on 3 base, and there we see a situation where, yes, the Terran player, if he's on an extra base, he's going to pull ahead, and the Stephano, you know, he has a great composition. I love his Ling Ultra Infestor style, but it was so far set back with the SEC sitting on so many bases that now Stephano is actually struggling a little bit. But Pain User, he just completed his ultimate upgrade, 5-3. I believe his Lings have the crack upgrade as well. So this is where the SEC actually had a lot of trouble dealing with Stephano. But he's changing it up by getting some ghosts this game. I did see personal cloaking upgraded, and he has 2 ghosts on the field, and that will be able to deal with the infestors pretty well.
God, the STC is just relentless with the dropping, but he's losing units now in these drops, and he's really not doing that much damage. Stephano has really upped his game. He's going to catch all of these units out in the midfield. Fungal goes down on top of all of them. Great move from Stephano. He's actually going to press. Oh, no, he's going to pull back right there. There are quite a few tanks, and you talked about this earlier. The depth in his tank line all throughout the midfield really just gives him a secure point in the middle of the map to work from. And that's what's allowing him to do all of these drops on opposite sides of the map, because he's not allowing Stephano to control the midfield at all. Stephano hasn't taken the Xel'Naga at mid back for a majority of this game. He hasn't had control.
Anytime a Terran player has control over the mid with so many tanks, bunkers, marines, whatever you name it, you have it. It's so hard for the Zerg to deal with. Namely, you can't even get creep spread into the middle of the map. You got to worry about all your exterior bases due to potential drops. And it looks like Stephano may have had enough of this. He's attacking from multiple angles. Those Lings at the planetary are going to go down. But it looks like Stephano may have enough Lings and Ultras to bust through here.
I think he does.
Wow, incredible. He is going to break the middle position. And for the first time in the last 10 minutes, he controls the center of the map.
Wow, this is so impressive right here.
Unbelievable.
Stephano coming up with a huge victory there. Still 2 Ultras remaining. Another Ultra coming into the mix. Beautiful Fungals going down. Infested Terrans running amok all over the midfield right now. I haven't seen this many infested Terrans in a game ever, I think.
Convert, damn you, convert.
He just continually uses them, and now might actually use them to take out the PF here.
Oh my God.
The STC, no response for this. He's in a lot of trouble here.
He's going to lose so many infestors if he doesn't get out of there. He's got to pull those infestors out. Those are the unit that you really need throughout the game to stay alive. And now he did kill off the planetary fortress, and that is a huge win for Stephano.
Yeah, he really, really needed that. No more ghosts in production here from the STC, interestingly enough. We did see those 2 ghosts that he made. He actually hit some good EMPs, but he's going to need more ghosts. He has to start sniping and EMPing these infestors more often than not. And once again, a beautiful Fungal goes off right there. Stephano might be able to end the game here. This could be it, folks. It's going to be close for the STC. He's holding on, but holding on to what? He lost the gold. He does have additional bases going up on the opposite sides of the map, though, and Stephano is starting to get starved out a little bit. He does have the bottom portion of the map, though.
Yeah, and this is just showing the power of the crack upgrade with mass 5-3 Ultras. That planetary fortress was not going to last to 8 or so cracklings. They will take it down in a jiffy. And Stephano, as soon as he maxes out on all his upgrades, that's when the Zerg is truly to be feared. And I just don't know, what can the Terran do to deal with this? We've seen Stephano just crashing through players left and right throughout this tournament. He's in the semifinals right now. It's for 12K and possibly 30K in the first place prize. I don't know what the SEC can do, man.
Well, you know, he's just macroing as hard as he possibly can right now. We have 8 more infestors coming into the mix, and it looks like Stephano's actually going to commit to taking out this planetary fortress on the left-hand side of the map. It's actually very important that the STC holds on to that planetary. He can't afford to lose it. I don't even think Stephano actually knows about that ninja planetary there. And while he was away dealing with that, he allowed STC to just start to reclaim that position in the midfield right now. And you know, the STC has actually managed to stabilize here. He's actually stabilizing a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah, I gotta agree with you. Now the one thing, oh my God.
Beautiful EMPs!
Huge EMP!
Oh my God, all the infestors lose their energy there. That could be what the STC needed. He is gonna have an opportunity for a push here. All of these, only 3 infestors now have energy. And if he chooses to, I think he has an opportunity to push, but it looks like he's more concerned with securing additional expansions right now. He wants to take the top right.
Looking concerned about that top right expansion. Certainly an area where resources are going to really matter. It looks like Stephano gearing up for an attack here, but you made a great point. Those infestors, half of them have lost all their energy, and that is such a big blow to Stephano's army. He's engaging in the gold once again. Another massive EMP hits all the infestors. That was a money EMP, and Stephano has no more energy. And without energy on the infestors, the Ling Ultra build starts to fall apart. You don't have anything to lock down the M&M when they're stimming and stutter stepping away from your army. You have really nothing to deal with that bio ball.
Uh-oh, HD, we've got a huge drop going off on the right-hand side of the map. He's also dropping the left-hand side at the same time. The STC pulling his units to the bottom left and dropping the third at the same time, which is going to spread Stephano very thin. He's going to be hard-pressed to deal with both of these drops, and he loses the hatchery in the bottom left. Great moves right now from the STC. This is what he has to do to get back into this.
And the STC actually now catching up in upgrades. That's why we're seeing the STC kind of starting to stabilize. His Marines and Marauders are now maxed. They've got 3 armor, they've got 3 weapons. They can now stand toe-to-toe with the Ultra Ling, the Ultra Crackling.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually, if we just take a look back at the mini-map, currently Stephano has 1, 2, 3, 4 bases. We have the STC on maybe 4 or 5 total, but of course only a portion of those are actually mining. So it's certainly a very close game right now. Maybe Stephano just a little bit behind, especially with his Infestors having been EMP'd time and time again, and the Bio Ball now toe-to-toe with the Ultra Ling. I think Stephano may be in a bit of a
I
spot.
feel like Stephano is considerably behind right now. Yes, yeah, to go back on what you were saying earlier, yeah, both these players have been maxed for a while now. They've been maxed on everything, and oh my god, is Stephano going to try and make his move through mid here? I don't know if he wants to engage right now. There is a PF there. Yeah. There's a ton of tanks, and once again, that tank line throughout mid just has so much depth.
Oh my god!
Beautiful
that fungal could kill off so many SCVs, and about half of them going down. The medevacs at the left healing the rest. That was certainly something that will help Stephano in a little bit.
But even after killing all of those SCVs right there, take a look at the income tab, 76 to 64. The STC just out macroing Stephano here in the late game, taking additional bases all over the map. And here we have Stephano pushing through mid once again. He needs to be careful here. No ghosts out right now for those clutch EMPs we saw. They're actually back by the PF. They're not up front near where the Infestors are.
Now, one thing that Stephano does certainly have going for him is his massive bank of gas. He's been mining off many hatcheries for a long time. He's got 4,000 gas.
God, he has 4K
so
gas.
He will be able to continue making Infestors and Ultras for a very, very long time. So don't count him out yet, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like a couple of Infested Terrans here getting caught by that PF and Comsat combination, it seems like. So the SEC keeping that orbital, that planetary alive. Meanwhile, another drop going down at the 6 o'clock. And man, the SEC in this game, unlike the rest of the games, has been dropping left and right and doing a lot of damage. And oh, burrowed Infestors being used, or they could launch a massive fungal if they get out of the range and unburrow. But it looks like Stephano's just biding his time and waiting for the perfect spot.
Ooh, the ghosts now have cloak. He's going to cloak in there. He could potentially EMP all of these Infestors.
But he spreads his Infestors. Beautiful spread on the Infestors, so not all of them getting EMP'd.
Still so many EMPs going down right there, though. And he's dropping some Infested Terrans here in mid with the burrowed Infestors. Here he goes. Stephano's making his move.
Yeah, he is making his move right now. I don't even know how Stephano realized the spread of his Infestors there, but that was brilliant. He is going to get his Ultras up in here. I think he's going to be able to cleave away the rest of that M&M ball, but there are reinforcements arriving from the top, and that's going to keep him away.
There's just too much back there in mid. I mean, he has an absolute stronghold, just a bastion in the middle of the map, tanks everywhere, ghosts. I'm surprised he hasn't added any bunkers in there, or perhaps a sensor tower, actually. You know, why not throw 5 bunkers in mid, just lock it down 100%. He's been fighting there all game, but take a look on the map at how many command centers Stephano has right now.
The SEC. He has so
STC.
many.
He's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There
six,
is a
7, 8
sniper fire going off from the Ghosts, and it looks like Stephano's making his last-ditch effort in the middle of the map here. His supply count has diminished and dwindled to 90, under 150. Those Ultras are the last Zerg Swarm standing, and they are going to get picked off as well. It's certainly looking like the SEC just has so many reinforcements, such a large tank depth in the back, and these units continue to pour in.
Yeah, situation is looking grim right now for Stephano. He's still trying to do everything that he can, though. This looks like his last push through the midfield right now, and he will be able to take out some of these Marines, but the tanks in the back just shelling away, cleaning up all of those. And if he takes out the gold here, that's really Stephano's last hope. He's getting starved out everywhere else on the map. He still has, you know, a few drones mining here and there. He has drones at his 3rd, drones at his 4th, but God, look at the map control from the STC. He has the entire map. He looks like a Zerg right now without the creep.
And that 3,000 plus bank of gas is still, that's the only thing that's really keeping Stephano in this game. Otherwise, I think he would have GG'd a while ago.
Well, what do you think he could have used to dump that in? I mean, he's been making infestors and ultras all game long. He's maxed on all his upgrades. Do you think maybe a Broodlord transition at some point would have been effective?
You know, Broodlords would have been great, but the thing is, I haven't really seen Stephano go to Broodlords. He's more of that kind of ground-style Zerg player with a bunch of ultras, lings, and infestors. I really feel like maybe just more infestors. Yeah, he had a lot, and he had a lot that got EMP'd, but more infestor play, spend his larva into more fungal growths and more spreading out of infestors across the map to harass the command centers would have been nice. But there's the GG. I don't know, man. Stephano played a really good game. It's hard to call on that one. I think the SEC just played a little bit better.
And